We are back for another season of eNags versus the NFL. I'm going to give you guys all my picks for the week, and it's going to happen every single week. My goal is to have these out Saturday morning, just that way you guys have a little more time to see the plays. I will probably try to record these on Thursday, so the lines might be a little bit different, so bear with me with that. It's just the best way I can get them out. So the first game we're going to look at is a super fun, not stinky game at all, and it is the Carolina Panthers versus the Atlanta Falcons, which honestly might be one of the stinkiest ones of them all. The line is currently Panthers plus 3.5. It's going to be a super interesting game. We're going to see Bijan Robinson versus Bryce Young, a team where both defenses were bad last year, but they're looking to be much improved, especially the Falcons with new additions like Jesse Bates. I think this is going to be an interesting game, to say the least. Trying to see if there's any big injuries. Adam Thielen is questionable. That's not great. So is Chark, who is also not good. Austin Corbett is on the PUP list, so he is not going to be playing. And for the Falcons, it looks like Cordell Patterson is questionable, which doesn't mean too much just because of how stacked that running back room. You've got Tyler Algier, you've got Bijan, so that's not too big of an issue. And Jeffrey Okudah is questionable, which could be an issue because their defense obviously was an issue in and of itself last year. I don't know. I'm just really interested to see what's going to play out in this game. I think the Falcons are a better team. I just think the offensive line is sketchy. I still think Grady Jarrett's a really good guy for the Falcons on that defensive front. And I think with the bolstering that they've done in the offseason, spending a little bit more money there, I think that offense could really look good for the Falcons. I know Desmond Ritter's still this huge question mark that no one knows what you're going to get, but Bijan adds a totally different element there. I think Drake London and Kyle Pitts are both maybe going to take that another jump, so give me the Falcons to win and cover here. But I am excited to see how Bryce Young plays, especially in year one. Yeah, I don't think you can put too many expectations on him with how bad that roster is. Next game we're looking at is the Texans at the Ravens. The Ravens are currently 9.5 point favorites, and it's just a really one-sided game is what I would say. I think the Texans offense is going to look like they could be serviceable, I guess. You know, Mechie returning from injury, which I think is a big plus for them. You've got CJ Stroud obviously making his first start. I love Dameon Pierce, so I think that is going to be a very cool offense for them, but I don't really trust all that much. And the defense, I would just say, is straight up bad. I mean, Jalen Petrie is interesting. You've got Jimmy Ward coming over. You've got Derek Stingley Jr. hopefully playing in a better system for him, and Will Anderson obviously is a stud. But the rest of the defense is meh for me. I'm not really moved by it. It's gonna be very interesting seeing Lamar in this new offense. You've got Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers, you've got Odell Beckham, you've got Mark Andrews, you've got a lot of weapons. So if he's going to spread it out like they say they are going to under Art Monken, I think they could be good. And I think the Ravens defense is good as usual. I'm not as impressed with it, I think, as other people. Might just me being a hater, but who knows. But I am not really scared of the 9.5 points here. I'm going to take the Ravens to win and cover here. I just don't think the Texans are ready. The next game, we've got my Cincinnati Bengals versus the Cleveland Browns. The Bengals are 2.5 point favorites right now. It's going to be a very fun game. I think it's going to be sloppy. If I actually had to play here, I think I would take the under at 47.5. Joe Burrow is notorious for slow starts. He hasn't had an offseason this year yet again. But besides that, I don't think the Bengals have lost a ton. The Browns have gained a lot. Their defense is a lot better than it has been in the past. Honestly, with this game, give me the Bengals to win, but the Browns to cover. The Bengals don't really have many issues, injury concerns, except for Joseph Ossai. He's looking like he's going to be out. Juan Thornhill is questionable for the Browns, and Denzel Ward with a concussion is also questionable, so he's going to be an interesting guy to look out for. But basically the season for the Browns is going to come down to how Deshaun Watson plays, how that offense is going to look. I don't know if they're going to pass the ball or run the ball more. You'd think with how good their running game is, that's what they will do, but it's going to be interesting to see. I think the Bengals are going to win. I think the Browns are going to cover. I think it's going to be really close. I could see this being a last one possession game, but give me the Bengals to win and the Browns to cover. The next game, we have another super fun one, an AFC South divisional game. We have the Jags at the Colts. The Colts are 5 point favorites. Probably my favorite rookie, or the rookie that I'm looking most forward to watching, is Anthony Richardson. I think he has the highest ceiling, but possibly the lowest floor out of all of these rookie quarterbacks, and that to me is insanely exciting, and I can't wait to see him play. This is gonna be a game I'm for sure gonna have on just because I want to see how he ends up playing. The Jags, it looks like there's nobody that's like questionable or any designations like that. You've got Zach Moss, who's questionable with an arm injury. I'm pretty sure he broke his arm, so that would be pretty interesting to see if he ended up trying to play with that. But I do think the Jags are going to take that step this year. I think they're going to win and cover this game. I think Trevor Lawrence is my sleeper MVP candidate. I think he could take that jump. I think Calvin Ridley coming into that offense is going to do wonders for him. I think another year into Doug Peterson, another year removed from Urban Meyer, does so much for his confidence and so much for his play. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be an MVP candidate, and I think they're going to start off the season with a win, and a dominant one at that, in Indianapolis. I feel so confident in some of these games, but you know, week one is always crazy. But we've got the Buccaneers at the Vikings. Vikings are 5.5-point favorites. This game again looks pretty open and close. I'm going to take the Vikings to win and cover. I just don't think the Bucs are going to be that good. I think Baker being their quarterback leaves a lot of issues. That offensive line is getting slowly worse. That defense is also getting worse. You've got Mike Evans. You still got some of the weapons on offense. I don't really think Rachaad White is anything special from the running back position. And I mean, you have the best receiver and arguably the best player in football on the other side of the field with Justin Jefferson. I think the Vikings offense could have a pretty good day. I think Kirk could continue what he had last year, maybe continue that kind of play. If he maintains that level, I think they're going to be good. The Vikings have such a young and interesting defense. They're going to have a lot of guys who are rookies getting big minutes for them. Ivan Pace Jr. looks like he's going to start, the undrafted rookie out of Cincinnati that a lot of people were surprised that he was undrafted, and me too. But give me the Vikings to win a cover. I think the Buccaneers might be in that sweet spot where they're going to go for a quarterback like Drake May next year. Next up, we have the Tennessee Titans at the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are 3-point favorites. This is a game that I feel like a lot of other people are not going to have a read on. This one is so just stinky. It's so hard. You've got Tannehill and Derek Carr. You've got Derek Carr coming to a Saints offense that really needs just some consistent quarterback play. You've got Olave. You've got Rashid Shaheed. I mean, you've got Alvin Kamara on a suspension, so he's going to be out this game. You have D-Hop going to the Titans. That's going to add a completely different element there. Tannehill has looked the best when he has that kind of number one guy who's for sure. And we didn't really think Treylon Burks was that last year, but Treylon Burks with DeAndre Hopkins, now that's interesting. At least you have some guy to take the top off. D-Hop can kind of play his game. I'm very interested to see how this goes. It's a game that I do not have a read on at all, honestly. This could go either way. I wouldn't be shocked. Me personally, I would lean the Titans purely because I think Vrabel's such a good coach. I think week one, crazy things happen. I think the Saints at the end of the season are going to be a better team, but give me the Titans to win and cover here. I think Vrabel gets the guys up. I'm not sure what to expect from this Titans defense. I love Jeff Simmons. I love Kevin Byard. I just don't know what else is there. But I think this Titans offense could be sneaky fun. So give me some sneaky fun here. What I would say is probably one of the more interesting games of the week. We've got the 49ers at the Steelers. The 49ers are 2-point favorites. And I mean, when you look at it on paper, the Niners should be one of the best teams in the league. It's going to be so interesting seeing how Brock Purdy comes back from that arm injury and seeing if he's ready to go right away. Because they traded Trey Lance, all they've got is Sam Darnold in the back. And, you know, maybe Sam Darnold is the guy. We all said we weren't going to buy into that, but maybe he is. We're looking at it. George Kittle is questionable with a groin injury. Hufanga is questionable with a leg injury. Obviously, I don't know to the extent of these. Just kind of reading one of the injury reports that I'm seeing right now. Cameron Hayward is questionable with a torso, and Larry Ogunjobi is questionable with the legs. That's two pretty big pieces on their defensive line. But for me, it's so hard. Part of me, there's so much hype going around for both these teams. I think everybody in the world is on the Steelers, and I don't think that's awful. I think the Steelers are going to be a competitive team, but how good are they going to be? Are we going to see that jump from Kenny Pickett? I think that's what this whole thing is relying on, is if that guy is going to be able to make that jump. I think their offensive line is better, much better than it was last year, but is that much better when you're comparing it to a lot of other teams? I think Sam Alou was a really good jump up for them to get them the baseline. I don't think he's going to be this kind of crazy guy if that's kind of what they're expecting. You've still got Mason Cole at center. I think they still have James Daniels at guard, which I'd say both those guys are very average. They still have Chukwuma Okafor at tackle, who I'm not thrilled on, and obviously they aren't either. But instead of Dan Moore, they are going to bring in their rookie out of Georgia. Name is blanking on me right now, so I'm fine with that. But obviously, I think if Pickett can take that step up, you're gonna have Pickens, who's obviously gonna have a crazy year. And the Niners defense, I mean, looks good. They got Javon Hargrave. I mean, just looking at it, it's stupid almost. You've got Hargrave from the Eagles. You've got Bosa. You've got Armstead, and I mean, it's just stupid. And then you've got Fred Warner and Greenlaw, probably the best two linebackers in the league. The defense is crazy. I'm not sure how much I love the corners, but and then you obviously have Steelers defense where you have T.J. Watt. I mean, It's going to be a crazy game. I don't know who. It's such a small spread that I think whoever I pick is going to have to win as well. I'm gonna ride the wave with everybody else. Everybody's been so high on the Steelers, and you know, why not me too? Because then I can be mad at them if they lose. Give me the Steelers to win and cover this game. One of the games that I'm not sure how much I can talk about it, but we've got the Cardinals at the Commanders. Commanders are currently 7-point favorites. Cardinals look like they're in full tank mode. They want to get Caleb Williams, and that shouldn't be a shock to anybody. They should try to get those assets, but the Commanders are going to be super interesting. Obviously, not only because I'm rebuilding them on the Mad channel, sick plug, but Sam Howell is going to be super cool to see what happens. Chase Young's in a contract year. I think Jahan Dotson is really good. I'm excited to see if he can take a step in this new offense under Eric Bieniemy. But that's all I can really say about that. I think the Commanders are going to win and cover. The Cardinals are so bad that this is going to be insane to see the spread against the Cardinals every week. It might get close. One of my favorite bets of the week is the under in Joshua Dobbs passing touchdowns at 1.5, just because it's hard to see how they're going to do it. That offensive line is bad. Those receiving weapons are bad. I'm not even saying Joshua Dobbs is necessarily bad, but he's got nothing around him. So give me the Commanders to win and cover. We've got the Green Bay Packers at the Chicago Bears. Bears are 1-point favorite, so basically a pick 'em here. Very low scoring over-unders, 42. The Bears were so bad last year, so bad. And that defense, I still don't know if I trust it, but that offense looks a hell of a lot better. I love Darnell Wright out of Tennessee. I think that's a huge addition for him. The thing, you get DJ Moore too with that trade, which is going to be so pivotal for that improvement. Kind of seeing what's going to happen with Justin Fields, and Justin Fields looked good last year when he was running. The passing was interesting, but then on the other side of the ball, you've got Jordan Love. How is that going to work? I've seen it's questionable that it's Joshua Dobbs, and it's our guy Christian Watson, both hamstring injuries. So that is huge. If they're questionable, if they're out, I lean heavy on the Bears. But for me, it's so tough for me to pick the Bears to beat the Packers in week 1, just obviously because the past, you see the Packers kind of rolling the Bears so far. But that Packers defense, I still think is pretty good. I think they could cause Justin Fields some troubles. The Packers also could probably roll on the Bears, if we're being honest. That defense still isn't great. To me, give me the Bears to win and cover. Probably going to regret that. I could really see the Packers defense shutting them down, but give me the Bears to win and cover. I'm going to buy into I'm going to drink the Kool-Aid on DJ Moore and Justin Fields. Another just crazy stinky game. We've got the Raiders at the Broncos. The Broncos are 3.5-point favorites. Sean Payton, obviously the biggest addition probably in this game. Maybe the biggest loss, I guess, would be Derek Carr, and then getting Jimmy Graham to the Raiders. It's just a very, very weird game. The last time that I saw, Jerry Jeudy still going to be questionable in this game. I don't know exactly the injuries on the Raiders yet, but you got Josh McDaniels over there in the Raiders, which I don't really love. Obviously Devontae Adams is Devontae Adams, so he's a freak of nature. So you're gonna love that for Jimmy Graham. But besides that, there's not too many injuries for the Raiders on their side of the ball. Jerry Jeudy is still questionable, so I don't love that. But you still have Cortland Sutton, you still have KJ Hamler, so I don't hate that. That Raiders defense still worries me a little bit. I just don't know how good they can be. Morrig hasn't looked that great. The linebackers are pretty bad. I mean, Max Crosby is his own guy. Chandler Jones is having like these weird issues with I'm not even sure if he's going to play this week. I don't think he is. I don't think he's reported to the team. And Hobbs and Marcus Peters on the outside, Hobbs I don't even know. Marcus Peters isn't bad, but can he be the only guy on the defense? But then again, you got Russell Wilson. So what the hell is going on there? You don't know. Again, I hate that I'm drinking the Kool-Aid on so many of these guys, but I guess I'll drink the Kool-Aid on the Broncos, give me the Broncos to win a cover, just because I don't see how Russ can't move the ball on that defense. We've got maybe one of the most fun games here. We've got the Dolphins at the Chargers. The Chargers are 3-point favorites. This is going to be super cool to see. I mean, a lot of people have been hyping up the Chargers as usual, but they've got Kellen Moore as the new coordinator, so it'll be very interesting to see how much he throws the ball down the field. That kind of wasn't his bread and butter with Dak, but Dak always ranked probably in the top half, if not the top 10 of ADOT, average depth of target down the field. And I'm pretty sure Herbert has always ranked very lowly in that stat. So that'll be interesting. You have a ton of questionables up and down the board for the Dolphins here. You got Waddle, you got Armstead. Those are the big ones. Obviously, if Jalen Ramsey on IR obviously changes a few things, but Chargers are looking pretty clean. This is gonna be such a fun game. I don't know if there's a rhyme or reason why, especially in week 1, you're just kind of projecting off of your priors on the last year, I feel. And I've always kind of been a Chargers hater, but I don't know how I feel about the Dolphins. I think this is gonna be a close game. Again, at 3 points is so hard. Some of these spreads, the NFL, when you're betting, it gets tough. So I feel like am I drinking? This is like the ultimate drinking the Kool-Aid. Am I going to drink the Dolphins Kool-Aid where Tua's the guy? Am I going to drink the Kool-Aid that Herbert's gonna magically change with Kellen Moore? Let me drink the Herbert Kool-Aid. Why not? I think he's a good value Super Bowl pick when I was looking at betting. But give me the Chargers to win and cover. Why not? Let's hit on a quick stinker real quick. We've got the Rams at the Seahawks. I think the Rams are going to be really bad. Cooper Kupp is out. I know that for a fact. I think the Seahawks are a really good bet to possibly win the division, just especially with you're not knowing what Brock Purdy is. Even though he had some good play, what if he turns into a pumpkin? What if he just reverts back to Iowa State? I'm going to bet the Seahawks to win and cover here. Just looking at the quick injury report, Cooper Kupp is out. I don't know if they've announced what JSN is. I think he might try to go. Jamal Adams is out, which honestly, I kind of forgot Jamal Adams was in the league. It's just been so long since he played. But again, this could be like another thing. Geno Smith could turn back into a pumpkin. Who knows? But I believe in those receiving options so much. Tyler Lockett, DK, you've got JSN. JSN's one of my favorite rookie of the year sprinkles because I'm pretty sure it's Geno's ADOT was I think something like 8.7, and JSN's ADOT in college was like 8.9. So right where Geno loves to feed the ball, JSN's a master there. So give me the Seahawks to win a cover. Don't think there's much hullabaloo about that one. The rattiest line, and it's not even close, is the Eagles-Patriots. Eagles are favored by 4, which is very interesting to me. Opened at 4.5, and it got bet down to 4. Which means people were betting on the Patriots, which is so wild to me. Obviously, when you're looking at this, the Eagles should win and cover pretty easily. They just went to the Super Bowl, looking to have another Super Bowl type run. Bill Belichick obviously is him, but I don't believe in this Patriots team. I think they're clearly the worst team in the AFC East. You're projecting still with Mac Jones. Is he going to be the guy that you need him to be? And it's yet to be seen. You just haven't seen that kind of play out of him that you feel comfortable in that sense. There's no big injuries on the Eagles right here. Michael Onwenu has a leg questionable. Devontae Parker looks questionable. I mean, this just looks all sorts of bad. John Jones looks questionable with a leg injury. It just looks tough. You're having Jalen Hurts coming off an MVP caliber season and Mac Jones coming off of what do we even have in the guy type season. It looks like a rat line. I'm not going to bet this game with my real money or anything, but for the sake of the picks, give me the Eagles -4 to win and cover. And the Sunday Night Football game is the Cowboys at the Giants. Cowboys are 3.5 point favorites currently, opened at 3. Gonna be a super interesting game. You're gonna get Darren Waller in the Giants uniform for the first time. You've got Brandon Cooks going to the Cowboys, which I think is going to be huge for Dak Prescott. I don't think his interceptions are as much of a big deal as a lot of people do. I think it's mostly just a joke, but I don't know. I don't think Dak's bad, but I think he's a very above average quarterback, I guess is what I would say. I'm not gonna say he's I don't think he's bad or by any stretch of imagination, but I don't know. The injury report looks pretty per usual. Nothing too stark coming off here. I guess the thing is do you believe that the Giants overachieved last year? Do you think Dallas is as bad as they were? I think that defense in Dallas is going to be really good. I mean, you've got Micah, you've got Lawrence still, you've got Mozzie Smith, you've got Trayvon Diggs, Stephon Gilmore, Vander Esch. I mean, you've got Curse at safety. That's a pretty stacked defense. I think the defense is going to be good. Still under Dan Quinn. I think the offense in New York is super interesting. You've got Evan Neal, who looked better a lot down the stretch last year, and you have Andrew Thomas, who's obviously awesome. The receivers are still lacking for you in the Giants, but Darren Waller's there, and Saquon Barkley's coming back. Daniel Jones after his best season of his career, so I'm very interested to see that side of the ball for them. Defensively, you're starting 2 rookie corners for the Giants, which is, you'd never love to see that, honestly. Sexy Dexy, who's obviously a beast, and Thibodeau, I think, could take that next step. And Xavier McKinney, I think, is a little slept on at this point. But the Dallas offense, I mean, you've got Brandon Cooks, you've got CeeDee Lamb, you've got Dak, you've got Pollard. The offensive line's looking to be better going into this season. I think Dallas is one of the teams that I like their over bet, but it's juiced, so it means a lot of people are on it, and I think Vegas thinks it's going to happen too. So I think Dallas starts off the season well here. Give me Dallas to win and cover the 3.5. In the last game, we have Monday Night Football. We have the Bills at the Jets. The Bills are 2.5 point favorites, currently opened at 1, I believe, or 1.5, and it got bet up. So very interesting here. I don't know really what to make of this game. Von Miller's obviously out. Mike Hyde is questionable. For the Jets on their side of the ball, it's Dwayne Brown, I think, is the only guy who's questionable. Besides that, looks like they're all good to go. It's going to be such an interesting game. I don't think either team really addressed a ton of their issues. I think when you look at the Jets, obviously quarterback was their biggest issue, so they did that. But that offensive line, still not looking great. Mekhi Becton, you still don't know what you're going to get out of him, how much he's going to play. Obviously, that defense looks stacked. That defensive line is unreal. The Bills didn't really address pass catcher like I would have loved. Dalton Kincaid's obviously good, but besides that, you still don't really address your 2 option. It's going to depend on how much you rely on Josh Allen. Obviously, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the game, so you kind of do want to give him that workload, but you don't want to make him do it all. So I think that's where you kind of run into your issues. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a really good game. I think I trust the Bills a little bit more going into this. I kind of want to see the Jets do it. That offensive line still scares me a little bit. Obviously, Von Miller being out is going to help them a little bit, but I still think the Bills are going to get after him. I still think they've got a good, solid defense there, and I think they're going to play a little bit more aggressively than they did last year under Leslie Frazier. So give me the Bills to win and cover this game. But that is it. Those are my picks for the week. Let me know what you guys think is wrong. Let me know what is right. Let me see what your bets are for the weekend, and let's have a day. Until next time, peace out and stay safe.